Hey guys, today I'm reviewing Bloons TD 6. I was lucky enough to be able to pick this game up when it was like $1 a few months ago, and I've had a pretty fun time with it, so fuck it, I'm gonna share my thoughts on it. Get ready. It's time to return to Monk. In the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war. After Vermin Supreme wins the US election of 2024, the human race finally reaches the pinnacle of our evolution. Advances in science, technology, and society created a golden age, and there was peace and prosperity. That is, until the Bloon Nation attacked. The humans, caught off guard, were soon on the defensive, and what everyone thought was going to be a quick war soon turned into a multi-generational onslaught. Know that 1,000 other plans were tried and failed. Millions of brave and honored souls died trying to avert this desperate situation. In the end, in our darkest hour, one last insane plan was tried. One that managed to turn the tide. Genetic modification. The reversion of humans to a physically degenerate monkey form allowed us to unlock hidden potential locked within our DNA, and even allowed us to jailbreak our brains and use 100% of their power at once. Truly the perfect organism. Once you take control of this elite army, the goal of the game is simple. Do not let the Bloons be here. If enough pass, you lose. Each wave gets progressively harder and harder. You beat the level once you reach a certain wave, which is based on your difficulty. So it's like 40 for easy, 60 for medium, and 80 for hard mode. You start with some basic towers and earn money through popping balloons. You buy more towers and upgrade the ones you started with to handle the more and more difficult and varied types of balloons. Pretty standard fare, right? Well, no. I think this game stands out from other tower defense games in 3 major areas: progression, depth, and satisfaction and chill factor. To start off with, progression. So I'm normally someone that stays away from tower defense games, and I've never really played any of the Bloons Flash games as a kid, but when I got this game, I was pretty much immediately just captured by it. I guess I'm a stupid zoomer who likes to have a steady stream of unlocks pumped into my coffee-saturated bloodstream. With most tower defense games I've played, which admittedly isn't many, I kind of start to feel bored after playing for a session or two, like I've seen most of what the game has to offer. But BTD 6 doesn't really blow its load too early. There are a lot of things in this game that require you to play to unlock and incentivize you to keep coming back. I mentioned before that as you play a level, you upgrade your towers, but you don't actually have access to all these upgrades from the start. As you use a tower, you gain XP for it, which is permanent and not tied to the level you're playing, and you use that XP to unlock further upgrades that you can then purchase and use in game. And this incentivizes you to keep playing and using different towers because these upgrades are really good and important, and I'm going to kind of discuss that a little bit more in the next section. Another aspect of this longer term progression is monkey knowledge, which is tied to your overall level. Monkey knowledge points are allocated along essentially a skill tree, and these give you permanent upgrades that don't need to be bought in game, like the tower upgrades, like giving certain monkeys attack more radius or slightly more damage, and these add even more reason to keep playing and leveling up. And some of them are actually pretty damn good. Like a lot of games that have a similar system to this will kind of just have, you put your points into it, but you kind of basically just ignore it, like it isn't really impactful enough. But some of these upgrades do, make a significant impact on the way you play, like lowering the initial cost to purchase a unit. In a game where you kind of have to manage your money, that can be really big, having to spend 1,000 less money in the early game. And you also have the ability to turn this monkey knowledge off, so if you've unlocked everything, you don't necessarily want all these buffs applied, so you can actually have some challenge, you can turn it off, so that's good too. It's great to have that option. At the time of recording this video, there's currently 55 maps in the game, and they're all rated according to difficulty, so either beginner, intermediate, advanced, or expert. And these are fun to work through because they all kind of provide a unique challenge or have a unique theme, and they also just look really good. They're really well designed, and the graphics and the stylizing is just really great in them, so it's fun to play through them. When you beat all these maps, there are also challenge modes like Odyssey, daily challenges, and races, which add unique modifiers and rules to keep things interesting even when you've beaten all the levels. So number 2, more depth. Generally, most tower defense games make me feel like I absolutely have to do certain things or build certain towers in order to win, like if you don't build X tower by Y round, you'll just lose. and that doesn't really feel that fun to me. And to be fair, that does kind of exist to a certain extent in this game. Harder maps might encourage pretty specific strategies and placements, for example, and you do need to build towers to address certain balloon types that appear in later waves, like camo balloons or ceramic balloons or lead balloons. But in general, you tend to have a lot more choice, and have to make more choices about the strategies that you use. The way that upgrades are handled really increases this depth. See, upgrades are not just a linear path, they are 3 linear paths, and you choose to and fully invest on one when you're playing around and upgrading a tower. This allows you to specialize a given tower to many roles depending on the upgrades you put into it. The sniper monkey, for example, can be turned into a super rapid fire damage dealer good for targeting large groups of smaller balloons, or it can be made into a monkey with bouncing bullets and camouflage balloon detection that also drops money. Or it could be made into a monkey with the ability to stun Moab class balloons. And on top of these 3 paths, you also get to choose some points from the other path. So for example, you have to decide if you want your elite defender monkey to be able to see camo, or if you want it to have more damage and be able to pop ceramic balloons. This effectively triples or even quadruples the amount of monkeys that you have in there, because there's so many different, ad hoc combinations you can create of these leveling points. And this is not even going into the synergies that certain towers have with each other. Just a quick example would be the monkey village, which basically gives within its radius a whole bunch of different types of buff depending on how you level it. And that can, be comboed with other monkeys to create certain builds and playstyles. And on top of this, there's also the hero monkeys, which have their own kind of system of doing things, and kind of add, they can be specialized for certain tasks. Like you might want to take one hero on this mission because it, for some reason is better, and it just adds a lot more depth. I think you get the point. Even though some upgrades or types of towers may have the same basic function, like lead popping for both snipers and cannons, which both hit fortified balloons hard, there are differences in how they perform that task that makes it feel like you really have a lot of flexibility to create your own solutions. For example, the cannon can be made to an area of effect weapon, while snipers can target the whole map, so one might be better than another in a situation. The usefulness and variety of these levels feeds back into that good progression that I talked about earlier. I mean, who sees the Spectre gunship in their unlock section for the plane and says, I don't want that? It's just got a cool factor as well as very useful, and that's the case with a lot of these upgrades.
AC-130 ready for deployment.
Our AC-130 is in the air.
Okay, he's moving again. Get that guy. Get back on those guys. Nail those guys by the building. Clear to engage enemy personnel. Light them up.
Also, I just want to note that it's really cool how each level you add changes a monkey's texture in certain ways, so you can visually see the upgrades that it's got, if you have a good eye. Also, the art is just really well done for these, like a lot of these monkeys look really cool. So before I get into the final section here, if you've liked the video, maybe think about tossing me a like or a subscribe. It gives me a dopamine rush. So finally, I'd just like to talk about the satisfaction and chill factor of the game. It's just so satisfying. You start out a level with only a few little monkeys and they look as basic as can be, but by the time you reach high rounds, your screen just looks like a fucking battlefield with, pin missiles and bombs and everything going off everywhere, magic, it's just crazy. Also, the sound of balloons popping super fast and seeing that money meter go up is just so oddly satisfying. No doubt this game can be incredibly frustrating at times when you're playing it, like playing a hard map and you suddenly leak a million balloons, but it's hard to stay mad at the game. With such a cute and upbeat art style and great music and a very cheery vibe, and it hardly ever feels unfair. These levels are beatable, you just gotta work on your strats, your timing, your build order, and your choices of tower. It has a really great quality to it where you can just play it for hours like you would a multiplayer game or a story game or a strategy game, but you can also just hop on and do a daily challenge and then leave. Not a lot of games can do that, where the time investment is easy to manage and it doesn't really demand much of you in terms of time. I think they adapted that really well from bringing it to mobile to PC. It's still got that kind of vibe where you can pick it up and put it down really easily. As a last note, I think I should add that this game does have microtransactions, but they're very fair. I've seen a lot of people, when I was reading Steam reviews, talking about how they're unfair, but I highly disagree. Basically, every time you beat a level or a challenge, you get monkey money, which can be used to unlock heroes, skins for said heroes, or monkey knowledge points that are farther down the tree. You can buy this money with real money. However, the default heroes you get are good, and at no point I never really felt like I needed to buy money to progress. If you're just playing the game normally, you should be getting money at a normal enough rate to be able to easily buy heroes that you want. I think anybody who's complaining about the microtransactions in this game is being a bit of a whiner. So let's sum things up here. I think if you're someone who isn't interested in tower defense games normally, you should pick this game up. It's a really good game, and I think anybody would benefit from having it in their Steam library. It's just plain wholesome fun, which can scratch both the intense strategy itch, as well as the I just got off work and I want to play something while watching YouTube itch. It's a very easy game to recommend to you guys. So thanks for watching this video, guys. I actually just got a new mic this week, and this is the first video that I've made with it. So if you could let me know in the comments how it sounds, that would be great. I think it sounds a lot better. It's a lot easier to use than my crappy snowball that I was using before. It was like a second-hand snowball. So just let me know how it sounds. If you recommend any changes, that would be great. And I'll catch you guys later.